Hi, I'm Elora. I'm sure I will have some readers who have a lot of allergies. Well, I'm someone who has 12 allergies in total. Yup. Might sound crazy to some, but it is what it is. I genuinely don't have much problem with food because I am a good cook and can make amazing dishes with substitutes. So that wasn't a problem for me when I was older. My problem was with people who didn't take my allergies seriously. I can remember more than one incident when someone hadn't taken my allergies seriously and it had landed me in a hospital. Thankfully, most people around me weren't that dismissive or ignorant. I'm telling you all this because it is important to my story. My husband Brian has his mother Harper and sister Riley. His father passed away when he was in school, and after that, he sort of became the man of the family. I find these concepts ridiculous, but whatever. Different families operate differently, I guess. The problem was that Harper and Riley didn't like me at all. They resented me from the very beginning because they thought I was a threat to their relationship with Brian. I seriously haven't done a single thing to deserve this treatment, but it was what I got. Even after Brian and I got married, they didn't become comfortable with me. I stopped trying to have a close relationship with them, and eventually we became distant. I must admit that I didn't think they were a big problem because Harper lived 2 cities over, and Riley stayed with her husband. Riley and her husband lived in our city, but we didn't keep in contact a lot. We were happy being the two of us. But one day, my husband sat me down and said, "Hey, would you mind if my mom moved in with us?" "Why? What happened, Brian?" "Her landlord is selling the property, so he kicked her out. She tried to find a place to stay, but she couldn't afford the rent anywhere else. She asked me if I would let her stay since she wanted to live closer to us anyway." "Oh, I see. Well, I don't have a problem, but please don't let her be too snarky with me." "I will keep that in mind, my dear. Don't worry. I won't let her be mean to you." "Okay, then. You can tell her that she can come stay with us." My husband thanked me for being cooperative and told his mother that she could stay in our home. We had the space, so that wasn't an issue. Was I thrilled about having Harper in my home? No, but I didn't want to leave her homeless. I'm not that heartless, guys. I thought I could always talk to my husband and ask her to leave if she acted up or caused problems. With that logic in mind, I allowed her to stay with me. Oh boy, that wasn't the right decision because this woman was absolutely crazy. I had no idea the extent of my mother-in-law's hate for me until she came to live with us. Initially, we started off without a problem, even though she was a bit cold towards me. But soon, we started to have problems. First of all, she was living with us for free and didn't even pay utilities. Secondly, she kept inviting her daughter over every other day, and it felt like Riley was practically living with us. It was hard for me because I would always find them ready to bully me whenever I was back from work. Brian tried to talk to his mother and asked her to tone down this behavior. However, Harper just did what she wanted since he worked long hours and couldn't keep an eye on her 24/7. Just a month into her stay, I was already tired of her. The biggest problem we had was Harper being dismissive of my allergies. We had sat her down to tell her some ground rules about the food we had. It was about my allergies and how she needs to be careful with certain foods around me. I can't eat a variety of foods because of my allergies, and I can get a reaction even through cross-contamination. So Brian and I gave her a list of my allergies and said, "You need to limit bringing these things into our house, Harper. You can eat it if you want, but make sure it is not in the fridge. If you want to cook something with these ingredients, make sure to scrub everything clean and leave no chance for cross-contamination. What the hell, Elora? There are 12 items on this list. No one has these many allergies. Well, I do, Harper. People can have even more than a dozen allergies. It's not common, but we exist. I don't believe it, Elora. You're just being controlling and a drama queen. It's impossible to have so many allergies. Mom, that's not how allergies work. Elora really cannot eat these things. We're not banning you from having them. Just make sure you clean everything later so it doesn't get into her food. This is nonsense, Brian. You know this is all a lie. Your sister only has one allergy, so you should know that people can only be allergic to one thing. Your daughter's case is not applicable to everyone, Harper. Look it up if you want. I am also allergic to shellfish, but it's not the only allergy I have, as you can see. I still don't believe you, Elora. You're only doing this because you want me to clean your kitchen for free. All this dealing with your allergies is just your attention-seeking behavior coming through. Mom, stop it. You will not talk to my wife like that. We're being pretty reasonable here. You have no right to call my wife names for having allergies. You will follow our boundaries if you stay in this house. This is a serious matter, and I need you to treat it like that. My mother-in-law tried to argue and told Brian that she didn't know anyone who had multiple allergies. She said some weird stuff about allergies that would make a doctor faint. Anyway, after a lot of arguments, my husband and I put our foot down and told her in no uncertain terms that she needed to follow this rule. Harper huffed and agreed to do what we asked, but she made it clear that she still thought I was being controlling and an attention seeker. It was just bizarre, but I knew there was no point in arguing with her. One day, I did tell Brian that I was feeling overwhelmed by everything. I said, "Your mother is a nightmare, Brian. I don't know why she has to act this way." I know, Elora. I'm so sorry she's bothering you. It really doesn't help that Riley keeps coming over and joins Harper in making my life hell. Just last week we got into a fight because they made soy milk coffee and didn't wash the pan with soap. You have no idea how badly they argued with me. I knew about this already, Elora. Mom came to complain and I put her in her place. If your mother doesn't take my allergies seriously, we are going to have problems, Brian. I really feel unsafe in my own house because of Harper's nonchalant attitude. I see. I'll try to talk to her again, Elora. If I see that she's not willing to follow the rules, we will revisit this topic and come up with a serious solution. My husband always took my health seriously, so I was confident that he would tolerate Harper's ignorant attitude if things got worse. At that time, I was going to compromise and see if we could somehow learn to get along. Kicking Harper out the first chance we had wasn't really an option. It might come easy to a lot of people, but it doesn't come that easy to me. I didn't want to ruin my husband's relationship with his family over nothing. The least I could do is give her a chance and see if Harper eventually changes her attitude. A month went by, and things were still tense at home. Harper was always a problem, but Riley's presence was making it worse. She, despite having allergies herself, also took her mom's side and said that she didn't believe me. I didn't know that a grown woman from the 21st century could be so dumb and uninformed. Again, I didn't feel like arguing with her, so I didn't bother anymore. They had a gala time berating me and insulting me at home when no one was around. I let it be and figured that ignoring them would be the best option. I also made my own food because I knew Harper would be careless since she didn't think my allergies were real. She never bothered to cook for me anyway. So when she suddenly made me food, I was taken aback. I was back home from work and dead tired. I hadn't eaten anything since morning and was dying for some food. I avoided eating out because of my allergies, so my only option was to eat at home. I was dreading making a meal while so tired when my mother-in-law came into the kitchen and said that she had made me food. She said, "I made you some soup, Elora. I thought you would be tired today, so I made you something to eat." "Oh, you didn't have to, Harper, but thanks, I guess." "Here, go ahead and drink it. It'll warm you up." "You didn't use anything that I'm allergic to, right?" "Oh, no, it's just my special tomato soup, Elora. I use a special recipe that's been passed down in my family. You don't have to worry, though. I remembered all your allergies and didn't use anything you can't eat." Harper said these words very fast, as if she had rehearsed this in her head. She was acting a little off, and I found her behavior a little suspicious. She let me know that Riley was coming over, so she was going to freshen up. Then she left for her room. I was very confused and had a bad feeling about this. Harper never made me food and didn't even agree that I have allergies. I knew something was wrong with the food Harper gave me. It smelled like it had something on it that I didn't eat. I looked at it rather suspiciously and was deciding whether or not it would be a good idea to eat it. My gut told me that this food shouldn't be in my stomach at all, so I sat there in silence and looked at my food like it was out to get me. It sure looked delicious, but I was very hesitant to even have a taste. While I was suspiciously eyeing the food, Riley came into the dining room. She took one look at the food and said, "Hey, what's that? What are you eating? Where did you get that?" "Your mother made this for me, Riley. It's soup, as you can see." "That looks delicious. Are you sure she made this for you? She never cooks you anything. You must be lying." "Yes, she is the one who made this for me." "I don't see any more soup on the counter. Mom must have saved this portion for me, and you decided to steal it." "Why would I do that, Riley? You know I can't eat everything that your mom cooks because of my allergies." "Don't start that again, Elora. Everyone knows that you're just faking your allergies. No one can have so many allergies. Just admit that you stole my portion of the soup." "You can believe what you may, Riley. The truth is that your mother gave me this soup because I was hungry and tired from work. But if you think I'm lying and stealing your portion, you can have this. Yes, I'm going to take this food away from you because it should belong to me. You don't deserve such a delicious meal anyway." "By all means, Riley, go ahead and take it." I decided to give away the food to Riley because she was being sassy again. She apparently believed that this soup was meant for her and I was stealing it. She didn't hesitate to take up my offer when I said that she could have it. I guess she found this soup to look too delicious, too. Since I was already having trouble deciding if I should eat it, I gave it away to her. I happily passed the bowl to Riley, who sat down and started to drink it in one go. She was satisfied to have the delicious-looking food taken away from me. I just sat there and watched her eat it, trying to understand if I was the only one who found the food suspicious. Riley was drinking the soup and had finished half the bowl fairly soon. I thought that maybe nothing was wrong with the soup, but in a few moments I saw Riley start to stop eating and look a little stunned. She looked at me and back at the soup in panic. I also noticed that she was turning red. She tried to speak but couldn't talk. I immediately knew what was happening and my eyes went wide at the realization. I immediately called 911 and then my mother-in-law. When Harper came into the kitchen, she looked shocked to see her own daughter choking up. Immediately, she ran to her side and asked me, "What is wrong here? What happened to her?" "She had the soup that you gave me, and then this happened." "What did you just say? You gave her the food I gave you?" "Yes, Harper." "What did you mix in it? She looks like she's having an allergic reaction." "Oh, God! I put shellfish in the soup. She shouldn't have eaten it. Oh, God, Riley, Baby, don't worry. We'll take you to the hospital now. Harper was scared out of her mind as her daughter was choking and gasping for air. Riley was only coming to visit for a short time, so she didn't bring her EpiPen with her. Our only option was to get her to the hospital as fast as we could. Harper was crying out of fear and frustration while I just stood there in shock. I had already called an ambulance, so we were just waiting for it to come. Riley looked bad, and even I felt bad for her. No matter what, she didn't deserve to die like that. She wasn't the one who tried to trick me after all. I couldn't really blame her for her mom's actions, especially when she didn't even know her plan or was a part of it. Within a few minutes, the ambulance arrived and Riley was taken to the hospital. Harper went with her while I took my car there. I also called Brian over and explained to him that his sister was in the hospital. When I was sitting at the hospital waiting for my husband to arrive, I had time to think about what Harper did. My instincts weren't wrong. My mother-in-law did put something in the soup and had specifically made it for me. That's why she didn't have any leftovers for her daughter, even though she knew Riley was coming over. She also took extra care to scrub her utensils and kitchen clean because she didn't want her daughter to risk getting exposed to shellfish. She didn't care if I had died because she was sure I was faking my allergies for attention. This woman was absolutely crazy, and I didn't even know what to say. I was mad, I tell you. But I also was feeling very unsafe to be around her. Thankfully, she was busy being worried about her daughter and forgot about me entirely. While we waited for the doctors to deal with Riley, Brian arrived. As soon as he came in, he said, "Your stupid wife gave her seafood soup and sent her to the ER. My poor baby could have died." "What on earth are you talking about, Mom? Why would Elora even buy seafood soup? She can't eat that." "Elora, tell me what's going on." "I didn't buy seafood soup or make it, Brian. It was given to me by your mother. She didn't even tell me that she put shellfish in it." "What? Why would you do that, Mom? You know my wife is allergic to seafood." I thought she was just lying. I was trying to test her to prove that she's lying about her allergies." "What did you say? You tried to test my wife's allergies? What is wrong with you, Mom? Why on earth would you do something like that?" Brian charged his mother directly. I could tell that he was fuming and super angry at the fact that his mother had knowingly tried to give me food with shellfish. My husband was super mad at her, and even Harper understood that. She looked down at her feet and said, I made a mistake. I really thought that she was faking it. Fine, I'm sorry." "Am I supposed to give you brownie points for being sorry? This doesn't change a thing, Mom. You still did something horrible that could have gotten my wife killed. You should be more angry at her because she made your sister drink it." "I never knew that the soup had shellfish, Harper. You didn't tell me. I smelled something funny, so I was a little hesitant to drink it. Then your daughter came in and wanted to have what you gave me." "Why did you give it to her when it was clearly meant for you?" "She claimed that the soup was for her and I stole it because it looked delicious. She thought it was her portion because you didn't have any more left for her. Riley asked for it and I gave it to her." "No, you must have done it on purpose. You put my poor daughter in the hospital. I will never forgive you, Elora. Brian, you need to throw her out of the house. She cannot stay with us anymore." Harper was clearly delusional. She had also clearly underestimated how angry Brian was at her. No matter how much she tried to shift the blame onto me, Brian knew that it was his mother who was wrong. What happened to Riley was also her fault, since she was the one who cooked it. When Harper angrily said that Brian should throw me out of the house, my husband roared at her and said, "No, I am not going to do that. What I will do is throw you out of the house." "What? Why, Brian?" You tried to poison my wife by knowingly giving her food with shellfish, Mom. If Riley hadn't demanded to have the food for herself, my wife would be in that hospital bed now. Or maybe I could have proven that she was lying to us all. I can't believe you would still harp on about this, Mom. What is wrong with you? I'm done with you. You will apologize to my wife right now for what you did. No, absolutely not. I only had good intentions. But she is the one who intentionally sent my daughter to the hospital. You are the only one responsible for what happened to your daughter, Harper. Don't try to avoid the blame and make me a bad guy. She's right, Mom. You are the only one to blame for what happened with Riley. As for your real intention, well, you will pay for that too. I meant what I said, Mom. You need to find somewhere else because I will not house you anymore. My mother-in-law started to cry when Brian told her that she needed to leave. Harper begged my husband to forgive her and said that she would never try to do this again. When he made it clear that she wasn't being forgiven, she started to yell at me and said that this was all my plan to make Brian throw her out of the house. She started to make a scene at the hospital and even accused me of poisoning my husband against her. Things got so heated that she was removed from the hospital and told to come back only when she was stable. My husband and I stayed at the hospital till Riley's husband came to see her. She was doing fine and was released that very day. I don't know what happened between her and my mother-in-law, but it looks like they aren't talking. From what we know, Riley's husband was angry at Harper after hearing what had happened. It looks like he is blaming Harper for everything, and so is Riley. We didn't bother to find out more because we were tired of this drama. Harper came home from the hospital and started to make a scene again. She cried and said that she had nowhere to go. Brian said that he didn't care and he wanted her out by the next day. Harper left my home the next day, but I don't know where she went. She just started to pack and left the house by the afternoon. She did cry and beg for forgiveness from us before she left, but I wasn't going to have someone like her in my house anymore. If my husband hadn't taken the initiative to kick her out, I would have done it all by myself. If he had refused to throw Harper out, I would have left the house. There was no way I was going to live with a woman who tried to get me killed. Thankfully, my husband is a reasonable man and immediately took my side when she accepted that she was trying to test me while risking getting me killed. So my mother-in-law left the house, and Riley, too, stopped showing up. To my surprise, she texted me to thank me for acting fast and taking her to the hospital. She didn't mention the soup, and neither did I. I was content not discussing this with her and just leaving it behind us. Anyway, Harper is somewhere that I didn't even bother to ask. My husband is not speaking to her, so he doesn't know anything either. I do know that she's not with Riley because her husband didn't allow her to come stay with them. I guess he's mad that her actions almost killed his wife and gave him an unnecessary hospital bill. I don't really care because overall neither he nor his wife are good people anyway. I'm just glad to have my house to myself, and there is no one to criticize me for having more than one allergy.